Bye.
Okay.
1 second. Can I have my phone once?
Yep.
Just check my face real quick. It's so like shiny. Shiny it is.
You want a paper towel or something?
No.
We are on FilmsGoneWild.com. My name is John Wildman, the editor-in-chief of Films Gone Wild. And right now we're currently at the AFS Cinema in Austin at the Indie Meme Film Festival. We're going to talk about a very cool short film. The title of the film is Aasmani. We have Sayani Gupta, who is the director, and this is your directorial debut, I believe. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. I love, first of all, what's happening here. I think it's complimentary. Us with, some stripes.
That's you go.
Working our stripes.
Exactly.
Yeah, Aasmani is very, very special, and I think Indie Meme is really special as well. Aasmani is my first baby, and firsts are always, it's kind of unparalleled, right? Because
now our audience has likely not had a chance to see it yet.
Yeah.
So introduce us to Aasmani. Tell us about it.
So Aasmani is a short film. It's actually a 33-minute film, and it's a film about a vintage car, a powder blue Fiat 1100, who's lovingly called Aasmani by this woman who's been driving her, and the car is a girl, it's a woman, and this woman has been driving Aasmani for almost 5 decades, and Aasmani is the closest companion to her, closest friend, confidant, and almost like an extension to herself and her own identity. And I've always sort of found it really interesting that women, after a certain age, irrespective of how able they are, self-sufficient they are, how sort of free they are, they start feeling redundant, because of age. And that was really interesting to me. And the film also, the third character is a 10-year-old kid who's the granddaughter of this woman. And she's Gen Alpha. She's, she knows everything about everything. And she's really precocious. So it's essentially a friendship story between 3 women. So the older woman, Smita, the little girl, Tiya, and the car, Aasmani. So that's the film.
Well, what I think is wonderful about it is that it's this really a delightful female empowerment story where that empowerment comes through so organically, and it's of course we have one male character who's so easily manipulated as men often are by the two women, by the little girl and her grandma.
Oh, that's so interesting that you thought like that. Okay.
Oh no, absolutely!
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Manipulated.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious to watch it. Because there's a scene where the little girl is just working him. She's playing him like a fiddle, and you can see her calculating as she's talking and as she asks him, and you can see it working on him. You can see his mind going, oh my God, he is out of his league with her. It is hilarious.
Well, we are mostly out of our league with any 10-year-old today. It's just that generation. I don't think it's a man-woman thing at all. But yeah, she's smart. She's somebody to reckon with, and you want her on your team.
Yeah, you do. And there's also, there's also a wonderful layer about legacy. And and the car represents this life that the car was part of, and we even have a conversation with the car at a certain point, and it's wonderful because you're an actor. You've seen so many times where an actor has to act out a monologue to themselves. You go, would they really say that out loud? Would I say that out loud to myself? But again, you go, yeah, this car is, like you said, it's another character. And so having that conversation with the car, it does kind of make sense. I would love for you to talk about, in particular, working with the girl and with your actors, because again, there is such an ease with the storytelling, with the performances, which I've got to think helps being an actor, being able to translate that to them. Talk about how you work with them.
Thank you for saying that. So again, as an actor, I've always, I find it really interesting because what you do essentially as an actor is to sort of excavate what can be done with any character. But also, I think actor handling in the process of filmmaking is really important, for any director to be able to do that. And I have had the really good fortune of working with amazing directors, in the last 15 years that I have been an actor and I continue to be. And every single director is different, in terms of what they want from you, how they sort of handle that. Some people really want to go deep, some people really want to rehearse a lot, some people want you to be spontaneous, some people are really open to improvisation, some people are completely not happy about improvisations and every single word needs to be delivered in the exact same tone that they think. And I think as an actor, you should be ready to do whatever it takes for the director to get what they want, because that's ultimately, film is a vision, and anything that anybody who's part of the film needs to do in terms of that story to come out at the best of its ability. And for me it was really interesting because I love, as an actor, it's the most joyous experience when you have a really good co-actor to play off of in any scene, to build the scene together, and because it's really a play, and it's about helping each other, and it's almost like a dance, right? And a lot of filmmaking is actually like a dance, if you think about it, like even the cinematographer-actor relationship, But when it came to the casting of these three characters, again, it's a film that it doesn't have an ensemble, right? It's very specific characters. And in my mind, while I was writing it, they needed to be a certain way, not just in terms of their being, but also how they looked, and they needed to look like a family, right? It needed to be believable. So the casting was really important to me. So Revathy, who plays Smita, she's a veteran. She's been acting since before I was born, right? And I have actually had the really good fortune of working with her in a film called Margarita with this star. And that was my breakout film back in 2013. So I've known her since then. I've worked with her. And she's not just a brilliant actor, but she's a glorious human being. She's so open and she's a director herself. So, and she told me later that she's actually worked with a lot of first-time directors, a lot of women first-time directors. And she was so open and willing to play, and in spite of her journey, her experience, she was like a child. And that's what you need, you need every single person to be really excited. So I approached, very early on, and she immediately came on board. In fact, I remember where I was sitting, I was in Delhi, I was traveling for an event, and I was sitting on the bed. I was sitting on the bed.
The espresso interrupts us.
Yeah, that's fine. Again, like an actor, instinct, right? You don't talk through an espresso machine. And I remember where I was sitting, and we had that conversation, and she said, "I love it. I'm gonna do it." And for a first-time filmmaker, like every time somebody says yes, and thankfully in the case of Aasmani, every single person said yes, and they read the script, and it's so deeply humbling. It makes me feel like, I don't know, it means everything, And sorry, just to
no.
yeah.
You got me excited. I can't make sense. That's right.
Okay. So Revathy came on board, and then Daria. So getting the kid was the most important, and she is the soul of the film. And in fact, every single person who read the script, and they were, any age or D, and everybody was involved, they were like, this kid has to be right. And also kids can be very tricky, because a lot of kids, and especially today, because because a lot of actors are so pro Instagram, and kids are not, they don't talk like and behave like kids anymore. And you don't want somebody who's annoying, like a little thing who's annoying on screen, and that is so easy to happen. So I had to be really careful, and I auditioned a bunch of kids. But again, I was sitting with a friend at a friend's house after dinner, and I said, I'm looking for this person. And she immediately said, why don't you cast her? And I had no idea, and my friend knew her parents. And again, like amazing family. And I met her, and in the first 10 seconds I fell in love with her, you know. And if you know her, she and I actually are very similar as people. So we really got along. Yeah, and we became very close friends.
So she was like a mini me to you?
Yeah, if you see, I mean, you've seen the film, and in fact, a lot of my friends who've seen the film, they're like, oh my god, it's, you know, it's so much of you, Shayo. But in life, Daria and I are very similar. We like the same food, we like the same music, we like literally, and we genuinely get along, and we trust each other. But I workshop with her. She's not really an actor. She wasn't an actor before, and it was the most, I think, the most gratifying thing about making Aasmani was I literally saw that girl transform. I workshopped with her for 6 months, every single weekend. 6 months, right? And she knew the scene, like she knew the whole script backwards. Every single word, right? And she was so open and so excited about the whole process. She was really, like again, you need people to jump right in and be there, right? And on the third day of shoot, I remember that moment. I was like, oh my god! I was looking through, you know, on the Shogun, and I was like, oh my god! I literally saw her transform into an actor, and she's an actor to reckon with. So yeah.
Well, you know, it actually kind of surprises me that she's not an actor because she's so smart. You can see the wheels turning as she's acting, right? And you go, but also not too polished. You know, some of the like Disney kids or Nickelodeon actors, right? You know, they go way too polished. Real kids don't act this way. They don't talk this way. So she doesn't have that, but you can tell, yeah, smart kid. All right, this is the thing I wanted to ask you, especially knowing that that we had a fellow director acting, you know, thing. As an actor, when you know, and I love talking about this because as a director, I've done this too, where sometimes you will let the camera run and you'll get footage and you go, and we see it on the screen and we go, oh my God, it was so serious, and she was contemplating this, and she was thinking of that, and in real life, she was thinking about lunch, fish or chicken, right? Right? And you know, as an actor, you don't really think about it because you've got all this stuff in your mind, but the director's got the camera rolling, going, I'm going to use this later on in the editing bay. So when I'm curious for you, if this is your first time out as a director, if you utilize some tricks like that to get some footage that normally wouldn't expect. But you've been on a lot of sets, so you kind of know. Did you have some things up your sleeve to get footage that you needed?
Yes, in some cases and in certain moments, but we had rehearsed a lot, so you know they generally knew what they were doing. But especially the car stuff, because we were just rolling and I was on a like scooter and behind like with 10,000 things on me. But I'm glad you asked this question because with Abhay, you know, who plays Rishu, and who's so wonderful, it was the first time ever he was facing the camera. He had never been in front of the camera ever in his life. He does theatre and he's a wonderful actor. And so while one is working with Revathy, who's a veteran, I was working with introducing to people, you know, through Aasmani, and you know, I'm so humbled to be able to do that. But Abhay, again, he was the first time he came to my house and read, you know, I just knew this is it. And interestingly, they all three looked like family, you know. And Abhay again was so open, so enthusiastic. One of the most magical things about, I think, being a writer director is when you write something, you're just putting word after word, right? And you hear these dialogues, and because I'm an actor, I wrote with the dialogues in mind. I knew how the comic timing needs to run, you know, like land in certain ways, and the syntax of it, which was again very organic. I didn't like plan it, but you know, while writing, I knew, and I read the script out loud to people so many times that I know how to land it, right? Because I've written it, and it's about tonality. Right? But every time Abhay read it, I was like, yes. And every actor, when you know, suddenly it just becomes like real, like flesh and blood. You know, they bring their humanity into it. They bring their rawness into it, like you were saying, like realism into it. You know, like, and that is quite magical. And I think in the, you know, I know the scene that you were talking about where the little girl is manipulating him, and I was basically talking to them because I was not in the car. So like there was walkie-talkie, and I was telling Abhay to think of multiple different things, and I did that with Revathy as well, and Daria to an extent. And I was asking them to think about completely unrelated things, you know, and also related things, but like to the film, but again like things that I know would affect them, and I knew what the end would be. So you know how to sort of anyway, like the director's also in some ways sort of manipulating emotions, right? I mean, for lack of a better word. So yeah.
Final question.
Yeah.
You've gone to festivals. You've gone through. Had your films distributed as an actor. You've done like these red carpets. You've done all this stuff as an actor. First time as a director. It's a whole different animal, right? Because you're doing Q&As and you're talking about this thing that you agonized over, and you were in the editing bay till like 2 in the morning, going tap 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 tap, get this 0.2 seconds perfect, right? You've gone through all that, and now this is your moment to talk to people, and you know, and they're bringing up stuff. You go, I never thought of it that way, but because this is your baby. So how's this been for you? What's it been like?
You know, everyone, when they ask like how was it making a film, was it fun, did you enjoy it, and I said it's exactly like giving birth, and I think this is the closest I have come to childbirth, and it is like that. It's excruciating, it's magical at the same time, you know, like you said, like literally on this last day of sound mix, we were also like designing, you know, I was just like, and something happened, and only I could hear it, and my sound designer could hear it, and there was so much agony. But I was like, you know what, even if I have to take an epidural, whatever that means in terms of filmmaking, I gotta do this, I gotta deliver this baby, and it doesn't matter, right? You do it. But this process of 2.5 years that I took to make a short film, you know, but I wanted to make it the way I wanted to. And now that one, like yesterday was my first time watching the film with an audience. And I had tears because it's not something that you can ever imagine. It's something else. And I think with Indie Meme and what they were the first people to sort of accept the film in this way, you know. And I think the firsts again, you know, are so special. And I will always be so grateful and indebted to the team of Indie Meme, because they really opened the door for me, and I'm excited, nervous. When people are talking about the film, I'm like, yeah, this was my intent, but I never said it out loud, and if that's coming through, amazing. But they're also saying things which are so poignant, and I don't know, it's like I don't have words. All day yesterday I was crying, you know. It's like, yeah, it's so emotional. So, yeah, I'm just here as the mother of my baby to accept everything that people have to say, really.
Well, you know, listen, this is your first time out. It's a nuanced work. It's self-assured. You have moments that are delicate like a teacup, and yet they're funny moments. I mean, it really is an accomplished, you know, for your first time. It really is. Congratulations.
Thank you. That means so much. Thank you so much. Wow, that's very high. Very high.
Again, the film is Aasmani. I'm talking Sayani Gupta, screening at the Indie Meme Film Festival in Austin.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Oh.